Hello, I am Jules Starr, and I have been making videos for a little while now, and I just come to talk about different things of life, different part of the journey. And today I pulled a card. I do card readings and intuitive healing. I'm a Reiki master. I'm an ordained minister through a Christian church. My life study, though, is to learn and find the mystics of Christ. We should be living a life that most of us do not live. But what I do find about most people, and myself included from the past, is that we do live a very stressful life and a life of fear. I have worked very hard to overcome that with sabbaticals taken to be destructive. Today I read my cards every day and I read other people's cards, but today I just pulled a positive affirmation card and I thought it was really good. It says, are you going to be in a place called fear or in a place called love? Where are you? And where are you coming from as you encounter life? It makes a big difference when we walk in fear. We create what we think about. We create what we say. So if you're in fear all the time, fear of your finances, fear of not finding a partner in life, fear of whatever, that's what you create. And I have learned that better than anyone. But I was invited to dinner the other night, and I am very confident in my walk with Christ. I love Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Most Christians, I'm not real big on. They live by the law. They live by words of their mouth that they don't practice. They are not walking in peace, and they are not walking in miracles. And these are things Christ said we would do. So we should be learning how to do these things in this life instead of some of the religious goofiness. I do believe that the Old Testament set a ground. Christ was said to come fulfill part of the Old Testament, part of the laws. But we do not still live by the law. But at this dinner party, all lovely people. I liked everyone so much. But there was one woman in particular that it was going to be a Bible study, which wasn't really planned out. But she insisted that the Old Testament was of the most importance. Now, I think it sets the stage. And again, Christ came to fulfill a lot of the Old Testament. But she was saying that the law is important. And there's 3 sections of the law. Oh, I don't know what I did with it now. Hang on, I'm still here. There's 3 sections that is the ceremonial law, and that relates to Israel's worshiping. The primary purpose for that was to point forward to Jesus Christ. So these laws are no longer necessary because Christ came and we still worship God. The next law is the civil law, and that's applied to everyday living. That is in Deuteronomy 24:10 and 11. But because our modern society is so different than when this was written, these guidelines are really hard to follow because things are so different. Jesus demonstrated these principles, though, by example. And then the third is the moral law. And this is the 10 Commandments. And I do believe that the moral law is embedded in most of our hearts. It's applied today. Jesus obeyed the moral law. But this is embedded, and that's in Exodus 20:13. And our 10 Commandments, there again, we know not to kill people. We know not to steal. We know not to commit adultery. There's just certain things that is embedded in our heart. But the first law, the ceremonial law, Leviticus 1:2-3, for example, in there, it tells you not to wear 2 different kind of clothing in Leviticus. And we do all the time. We are to be stoned. You girls out there still menstruating? Don't go out in public if you're going to go by the ceremonial law. you too will be stoned. Um, and then the civil law, same thing. It was applied to really, that is civil law. It was applied to everyday living. Well, again, we live in a different area. We live in a different time period. And the moral law is such as the Ten Commandments. So this woman had insisted that they said, where do you want to start Bible study? They were talking about homosexuality, and I don't think that's anything we need to worry about here or there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Those are things that it doesn't matter. But so I said, why don't we start in Matthew and work our way through? And she said, well, we need to start in Genesis, in the beginning. And I was like, okay, well, let's start in Genesis. I felt like, you know how some people just want to maybe argue with you? So I said, let's start in Genesis. That's fine. But then I did tell her that if we're going to go by the law, we've got to change some things. And then the discussion went elsewhere, and we never really got back to Bible study. For me, I'm very confident and comfortable in my belief system. I always believe there's room to learn more, mainly because I am not walking every day in miracles. Now, I have seen a lot of miracles happen, and I have seen a lot of healing happen, but I am not walking in it confidently every single day. So it's my life study, and I have things to learn beyond belief. But she, I think, was referring to my love of crystals. I have a lot. God created them. What was his purpose? Should we find out, or should we just think that they're terrible, that they're new age, that they're awful? I don't think so. God created them, therefore he had a purpose for them. The energy is there for a purpose. I think we talked about that on the last thing. I've got tourmaline. I've got amethyst. I have so many crystals, and I've collected them since I was 16. So unless you're walking in total peace and love, there's still a whole lot to learn. And those of us that walk with Christ, you're not performing miracles that I know of every day. Now, I don't know everybody, so maybe somebody out there is. But until you get in this world and walk in peace and love, regardless of the battle, then there's a lot to learn. A lot to learn. So sorry, that's my phone ringing. So I just kind of laughed about her thought on the things we have to do and accomplish. And that was all in the Old Testament. So that interests me. She didn't say much anything else the rest of the time when I had suggested that we change our clothes and wear all one fabric and do those kind of things. And I wasn't being rude. I really wasn't. But I believe in this life we're getting hung up on things that are of not huge importance. It's not huge importance. We live every single day, so we have to figure out every single day how to walk in peace and love. When the bills come, when the tragedy comes, it doesn't mean we don't mourn. It doesn't mean we don't grieve. It means that we're trusting in our heart. Again, this is not head knowledge, heart knowledge, and it is different. It's where the Spirit resides, in our hearts. So it's a whole different walk every day to accomplish this. And we get so wrapped up in goofiness, and I used to too. I'm not by any means saying I have it all down. I don't, but it is my life study. I study the Bible. I study the mystics of Christ. I have studied Buddhism. I've studied New Age stuff. There's so much out there to learn, and I want to learn it. Everybody else can fight and write how you're wrong and use the same intolerance that you're yelling at other people about not having, that you're using. It's just craziness out there. It's crazy. So I see clients, I read cards, I do distant healings, I lay hands on people, I see clients personally. I do public speaking. I'll be going to Nashville soon, and I have a portable labyrinth that I take with me and teach people meditation. I am blessed because we have done transcendental meditation since I was 12 years old. My mother took us to classes. I'm from Irving. She took us to classes in Dallas, and my sister and I just kept practicing it. I've just always had an interest in finding out the mystic of the earth. And then there's so many supernatural things that you have to be curious about the things going on. So I think I've told you my Cancun story, where my angel got me out of an undertow, and the fire in Gatlinburg, where the same angel came up and asked me about what I thought about the words I used for my other angel that got me out of the undertow. And it wasn't until the next morning that I realized it was the same guardian angel talking to me. We're blessed. We're blessed. I think I've discussed the car wreck or the near car wreck Mother and I were in, where a car is coming airborne right towards my little mother's window, and all of a sudden it goes up and over and lands in the parking place we had just been in, and then goes across a median and hits a building. Other people saw it. I had prayed my mother wouldn't see it because I was so afraid that she would be so afraid, and she didn't know anything that happened. And it would have been hard for her to believe had other people not run to our car that saw the car go up and over our car, make a turn in the air, come down in our parking place, and then go into a building. The driver of the car was okay. She got out still texting. I'm sure she was in some kind of shock. I know I was. But I think what I want to give across today, stop fighting with everybody. Let's focus on what's real and good. Let's focus on the supernatural, the things that we should be learning here on earth. You know, the media keeps us occupied, so we don't have time to see what's really going on. I do not watch the news. I have people that'll say things to me, and I'm like, what? My middle kid, she's an attorney. She'll tell me that I'm very uninformed. I am uninformed about so much that goes on in our crazy world. I have a desire to walk in peace and love. I have a desire to walk in miracles. I have a desire to be the vessel used for healing. I have a desire to know what is real and what is not real. The earthly concerns, I know they're important. I know that people need to deal with them. There's so much that's going on, and so much that is of not sound mind, that I can't imagine those people that have to rush home to see the latest murder or the latest whatever earthly crazy thing is taking place. They're definitely living out of their heart. I mean, their head, not their heart. It's just a sad thing to me. But I do know we have to live here on this earth, but we don't have to participate in it. I'm looking for a place to see clients again. I've taken a few years sabbatical, and I'm going back into practice, and it's a healing practice. And the people I've talked to are saying, what about your time frame? And I was like, I don't function that way. Now, I have bills. Don't get me wrong. I have to make money to pay my earthly bills to live. But then another lady said, well, what licensure are you going to work under? And I told her not massage, because I am not going back to school for the state of Tennessee. But I am an ordained minister through 3 Christian churches. I have been to Rhema Bible College by correspondence. I have been to New Life, evangelistic training. I have taken Christian Leaders Institute. I have a certification in apothecary work. I wildcraft. I'm licensed in aromatherapy. The list goes on. I have, because I'm always in school, I'm a notary. I have a lot of licensures, and I'm not bragging, but I find it funny that that's the way our world thinks. If you're truly a healer, if it's truly your gift, you should have discernment of spirit of other people. You should be able to recognize who they are. I know I've done a video. I don't keep up with what all I talk about, but I've done a video on being on the wave of healing. And that's what I felt like these people that were talking about. They said, we want to check you out and see how you are. And I was like, absolutely. I mean, check me out. If we don't resonate, we don't want to work together. I understand that. I get that. I don't want to work with people either that I don't resonate with. But I am very open to people having different belief systems. I'm very open to not having to be right all the time. I'm very open to not having to have control of how other people practice. So anyway, with that said, I just found it funny. Some people I've talked to that they come across as they know it all. And I don't think there's room for anybody else to know anything. That's okay. That's all right. God leads my path. I have to get out there and do all I can do. So doors that open, I walk through. Doors that close, I just let go of. Sometimes you'll find I'll talk about them, but I get an amazement of how many people need control of anyway, I hope you're having a good day today. I'm excited about the classes I'm going to be teaching in Nashville this week. I do have a portable labyrinth. I call it a traveling labyrinth. That I speak about meditation and quieting the mind. There's a lot to be said about walking in peace and love. It is an art. It is not an overnight success. It is something that you have to master by practice every single day. And if you don't practice it, you will not master it. That I am sure of. That I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt. The people out there on sabbatical that do live a peaceful life, but you've taken a break, I look forward to coming back into your peaceful walk. I know I took a 6-year sabbatical to create a little destruction, and I've been back for almost 2 years, year and a half, 2 years now. Practicing what I know, practicing my life gift, practicing seeing the supernatural, practicing learning all I can learn, possibly learn, and it will be a lifelong study. But I hope you have peace today. I hope that this silly little video taught you something about anything. Please feel free to contact me if you ever want your cards read or distant healing. I do work under Jesus Christ as my Lord, and I am filled with the Holy Spirit. I perform weddings. There's a lot that I do, but again, I have studied all different walks of life and religions, and Christ is who I resonate with, who I follow, but I honor all paths. And I just ask you to please make contact if you need prayer, if you want to be taught some meditation, if you need a guest speaker at one of your shows or educational venues. And I read cards online. I'd be happy to just read cards. They're only a tool to help you see your positive attributes. I try to keep on a positive note always. So the card readings I do are angel cards, positive affirmation cards. I do not do regular tarot cards. I do not and will not tell you negative things in your life. I think we hear that enough, and that is what we dwell on when we hear negative aspects. We know they're there. We live them daily. But so please make contact with me if you ever need something of that sort or getting married here in the Smokies. And I honor you. I thank you for watching my videos, and may they get better and grow you and me both as we do this. Walk in peace and love. Namaste. Blessing to you.